Hey, Andre, you won't believe what I just did.
What's that?
I just went into some deep snow with the brand new Raptor 37.
And I just went into deep snow in a big military truck.
Well, you just, that's great, Andre. You just took the wind out of my sails, I gotta say.
Okay, let's save the old military truck for later. That's a whole different video. It'll be on TFL truck.
We'll save it at the end of the podcast.
Okay.
All right. So today, Andre, we're going to be talking about the Raptor 37, which is the newest generation of the Raptor that comes on 37s, obviously. And then we're going to be talking about our truck fleet because we did something really fun this week. We actually did a tug of war between the Titan, the Tundra, the Bronco, the TRX, and of course the Raptor 37. So we thought it'd be interesting to kind of go through all those trucks and talk about what's been good, what's been bad about them, yeah, let's get right to it, huh?
Yeah, totally. The Raptor 37, I drove it at the event a few months ago, last year in 2021, and been dying to get it here to Colorado, and it's finally here. It's in this bright coat orange paint, and it's on huge tires from the factory.
It's ironic. We did actually a tug of war between the Bronco and the Raptor. No, we did. I think we did that one. That was the only one we didn't actually do in the brackets. But anyway, they're both Ford orange, and yet the Bronco is cyber orange. And what's the Raptor 37?
Code orange.
Yeah, which one's orange?
The F-150 Raptor.
Of course. Yeah.
The Bronco orange, cyber orange, is basically yellow. I mean, it's a good color. I like it, but I wouldn't call it orange.
All right, so tell me about the Raptor 37. We got it at the beginning of the week now. Here it's Wednesday, so we've had some time with it. And by the way, guys, if you're interested in checking out that tug of war, because we could discuss it, but it's almost more fun just to watch it because we had it at the ranch. Mm-hmm. As you guys know, we have a new ranch, Tumbleweed Ranch, so we're taking advantage of the fact that we've got 20 acres that we can use basically to have fun in.
Yeah.
And so we thought, why not do an epic tug of war? That's over at TFL Off-Road, or to keep track of everything in one place, go to TFL-Studios.com, where we have all of our content in one place. So let's dig into the Raptor 37. So third generation Raptor.
Yeah, it's all new. It came out last year. And also, while we are starting the podcast, I want to thank also some Patreons because we have a lot of supporters. So let's just dig into the Raptor first and then thank some Patreon supporters. It's all new third generation. It doesn't look that new.
I was driving in the TRX and I had it in the mirror behind me. It looks like a Cylon from Battlestar Galactica. It's got a very space vibe to it. Maybe a stormtrooper, right? Because it's very subtle. What they did was they made those like LED lights that light up now, the driving lights, orange, right? A lot of the manufacturers are going away from the white ones to different colors. So on the new Raptor, they're orange, and with my hands, I'm kind of doing two L's pointing down. You get this kind of a like top of a box.
The daytime running light.
Yeah. And that's how you can really distinguish them from the last generation. But it's
from other F-150s.
Yeah. It's very subtle.
And I think, some of the inspiration for the new third generation Raptor was kind of the F-22 Raptor fighter jet, right? They talked about it when they unveiled it. I don't see really the fighter jet in this, but I do see a massive truck because it does look wide. It is still very, very wide. It's about, 8.5 or 9 inches wider than the regular F-150. And it's very tall, right? It's sitting on these 37s. 37... Well, so many current owners probably have upgraded their Raptors to 37s. But what Ford did with this 37-inch tall tire is they redesigned some of the rear frame to accommodate also not just the suspension, but also the spare tire. That's a 37. They gave it special unique shocks, which are live valve, adjustable Foxes, 3.1 inch now. So it's a whole package. They really engineered it together.
So a couple observations I can give you. So we just me and Tommy took it snow wheeling. So we compared the TRX to the Raptor 37, and we wanted to see if the Raptor has met the bar that the TRX set last year. And there's a couple observations that everybody, including the videographers, had that I thought I'd like to share with you. First of all, I asked the guys what interior they like better, the TRXs or the Raptors. Mm-hmm. What do you think they said?
I would say they lean towards the Raptor.
Yeah, everybody
They did?
everybody liked the interior of the Raptor better. Now, I was surprised, and Tommy said that the infotainment is the same that is in your truck, which is the F-150 hybrid, and not the one that's in the Mach-E, which I like a lot.
Exactly.
But apparently the Lightning is getting the Mach-E infotainment, whereas the current Raptor, keeps the current generation of Ford Sync.
Yeah, it's the Sync 4, basically. So I have my personal truck is an F-150 hybrid XL. Of course, I have smaller screens.
Yep.
I have kind of standard gauges in my basic truck. The Raptor, it takes that a little bit higher, but it still has that 12-inch screen that you can get in other F-150s. The system, the Sync 4A, the Mach-E, the Mustang Mach-E system, and then the Lightning system also uses a big, huge screen, right?
Yep.
It's the 15.5-inch vertical screen. But I don't know if this truck needs it. I mean, I think if I was to guess, I think some of the guys like the interior because the Recaro seats look kind of sporty.
And that's
right?
another thing we noticed. The last generation with the Recaros, they were way too sporty, right? They were almost like Honda Civic Type R, where they hold you in place, and you just feel like you're about to go racing across the Baja, which is great if you're racing across the Baja, but not so great if you're going to McDonald's, right, through the drive-through. And that's what I do more than race across the Baja, if I'm being honest. Number 9, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
So I like the new ones. I think they made them more Roman fat butt friendly.
Well, it's but it's still nice. I mean, it still
great.
has
They're
bolsters.
great.
Yeah.
I would have with the old generation Recaros. I would have not taken. I would have said just get the standard seats. These I actually like much better. So that was one observation. First, people like the interior. Then the next observation, which is kind of interesting, is it also has a power supply like yours in the back.
Yeah, it has a 2 kilowatt.
Yeah, yours is 7.2, right?
Right.
I think this is 2 kilowatts, which is still pretty respectable. I mean, look, you're not going to charge an electric car like we did with the Spark, right, while you're driving it. But 2 kilowatts is plenty enough to, power a refrigerator, to go tailgating if you're going to want to blend something. You could probably, even
Plug
use a
in a
chainsaw.
stereo system or something. Yeah.
Charge a removable battery in, let's say, a drill or, any kind of removable battery that you would use in a power tool. So it's pretty decent. And the other surprising thing, Andre, are the tires.
How so?
Well, so the reason it's the Raptor 37
is
because it's the first time you can get 37s from the factory, right? And by the way, we did this on the live video. I'm not sure you can go to 39s. I think you'll start to rub. I'm sure people are thinking about that, but I'm not sure you could do it. I
don't think anybody's tried it on the stock new Raptor suspension. I mean, somebody will try it.
Yeah.
But 37s, I mean, I think they're plenty big.
So compared to the TRX, which has Goodyear Terrains, I believe they're called?
Territories.
Territories. First of all, they're more like pizza cutters, so they're narrower. Mm-hmm. They're also snowflake rated. They're KO2s with the snowflake rating. Mm-hmm. But, Andre, ironically, I found that the TRX had better traction in the snow. Maybe because the tires were wider.
In your comparison?
Yeah, because the tires were wider than the Fords. But the Ford seemed to struggle a little bit more on those KO2s than the TRX did, which is interesting because the TRX has 11,000 miles on it. So those are not,
not
sharp,
tires.
knobby tires.
Right.
They're not worn, but nevertheless, they're 11,000 miles. So that was interesting. And the other question that the guys had, and I think these guys would appreciate an answer to, is what's the difference between a Raptor 37 and just a regular old third-gen Raptor?
Well, it's the shocks themselves,
okay,
and a little bit of a frame. Like I said, they kind of changed the rear of the frame on the 37 truck just to accommodate this larger suspension. But all third-gen Raptors have the coil springs in the back, so they're basically going to this 5-link system. It's still a solid axle, but instead of leaves, they're doing coils. And really, Ford says, and also other manufacturers who are using similar suspension say, it's a little bit better, it's a little bit more planted, right? You can kind of get more power to the ground when you really need it in off-road situations. But this 37, you were saying it's a little bit more narrower, right?
Yeah.
And was a little bit more of a pizza cutter.
Yeah.
I think it's actually better if you air down.
We did.
Right, because
we did.
You did?
Yeah,
how low did you go?
We didn't go that low, but we did air down.
Okay.
So
I think that's why you get the bigger tires, so you have the freedom to do it.
Yeah, good point. The other question that I had for you is, it sounds a lot better, Andre. I mean, it just, there's still a little bit of hint, and it's, of course, look, I gotta be completely transparent here. It sounds better, but when you're comparing it to a Hellcat Hemi V8 that's supercharged, as a V8 guy, there's that lumpy V8 sound that just sounds fabulous.
And the supercharger on top of it, right?
And the supercharger went on top of it, and we were in deep snow, so we took it out of snow mode. We put it in, deep sand and mud for the TRX, and in Baja mode, we wanted to get wheel spin right. I was filming Tommy, or I was actually slow filming Tommy, doing some slow motion shots. And when the Raptor came by, I was like, this sounds really good. Not as good as the TRX. There's still a hint of flatulence about it. There's, V6s are hard to sound good. There's very few that actually sound good. But what do they do to improve the sound?
Yeah, so they went, obviously they knew that was kind of a complaint from before. So they went to equal length because it's a dual exhaust system all the way from the engine. And they did a loop-de-loop. So in order to make them equal length, they had to take, the driver's side pipe and kind of, because it has a longer distance, and the passenger side, which is shorter, they had to make a loop-de-loop in the passenger pipe, basically to make them equal length. And they also added valves, right? So you can change the way it sounds. You can make it quieter, you can make it louder.
We went loud. We went loud.
And I noticed, I reviewed a little bit of footage of you guys off-roading in the snow, and from the front, the Raptor, when it was approaching me on camera, it just sounds like air rushing through it, right? It's just sucking the turbos.
There's no supercharger.
There's no whine. There's not like much of sound. And then you see it pass you, and it accelerates away from you, and then you get the full effect of it of the exhaust system. So they did improve it. I would agree. It's still not still not a V8.
It's funny. I've been listening to this podcast, Seen Through Glass. It's a British dude, and he does mainly supercars, Ferraris, and such. And he described a V8 sound as being girthy. I never thought about that, but it is girthy. It just sounds wide.
Well, and it's also
it's a good way to describe it.
It's deeper. I mean, it's just there's something about it. Some hypercars and supercars, like the Ford GT, for example. Ford GT also has a V6, which is a twin turbocharged V6, which is a mid-engine, hypercar. And some other vehicles like V8 turbocharged Mercedes, right? They sound, I don't know if they can make this Raptor sound similar to that, but anyway.
I want to give our viewers fair warning before we go into a Patreon.
Yes.
We are trying something different for this podcast, so we want to get a wide shot of us. Usually we use two cameras.
Girthy shot, you mean?
A girthy shot, yes.
Okay.
We want to do a girthy shot. And we're using a third camera, but the only one that we had at our disposal was a GoPro, and we don't think it's going to make it the full hour of this podcast. So if you hear 3 beeps, just fair warning, it's the GoPro dying. So don't be scared, because we're in here by ourselves, and I don't want to get up and turn it off. So Andre, and I hope you like the wide shot. So it's not just the two of us, a split screen, but you can see both of us and see what the studio looks like. We figure we're trying to bring up our production value. So who are our Patreons before we get into more Raptor talk?
Yeah, dude, we've been doing really well, and thanks to you. Usually on the podcast, we don't have a corporate sponsor or anything like that. You're supporting us directly using patreon.com/TFLcar. It's our only page. Recently, a day ago, Nathan Moore donated to us. Lars Eric Neswig donated to us. Apurva Gokal donated as well, and Trevor Ruffner. So, guys, thank you very much. It means a lot. You may think $2 to $5 to $10 a month is not much, but when you put it together, it's huge, and it helps us, create this podcast.
And I got to say, I have to thank, if you're watching this, thank you, Chris Wilson. He just donated $400 to us, Andre.
Whoa.
Not on PayPal, just not on Patreon, but on PayPal.
Okay.
And you know that TFL truck hat, the last one that we had that Jeff usually wears in the office? Jeff is our stuffed bear. Well, that one is going to Chris. So thank you, Chris. That was a very generous donation. And we are all out of TFL truck hats, I believe, now.
Yeah, we need to get some more.
So Jeff needs
another hat.
All right, let's keep talking about the Raptor. What is a tow, Andre?
So they upped it, right? Because the TRX is here. The TRX has a rating of 8,100 pounds. So when the third generation Raptor came out, the F-150, they said 8,200 pounds. So 100 pounds more than the TRX. Their payloads are about the same when you compare the TRX to the Raptor, about 1,400 pounds a piece. And actually, our trucks, the way they're configured, the TRX we have and the Raptor F-150, they have about 1,350 pounds, which is actually reasonable.
It is.
Right?
Yeah, it's not bad
for a big truck.
For a big Baja running truck.
Yeah.
All right. What does this number mean? 252.
250.
Who can figure it out there? Yeah, who knows?
Is it the cubic inches of the coolant system?
No, it's not. Come on, you can do it. You can
252?
Yeah, it's the biggest difference between. I'll give you. It's the biggest difference between the Raptor and the TRX.
I got it.
What?
It's the horsepower. Dude.
Yes, yes, yes. The TRX has 702 horsepower, while the Raptor has 450. So basically, let's call it. I don't know. What has 250 horsepower?
I don't know. A new GTI Golf.
Kona, I think Kona type Kona N. I think that's 252 in that neighborhood. Yeah, GTI maybe. Yeah.
So if you add another turbocharged engine to a separate engine to the Raptor,
yeah,
it'll have equivalent horsepower. Yeah, it's a big difference, dude.
It is. It is.
So,
and in 0-60 times, we've done 4.4 here in the TRX, and at sea level, you probably take that down to 4-ish or maybe even less. And then, of course, the Raptor is like 2 seconds slower. So it does
about
make
6-ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So there's a lot of rumors about the Raptor R.
Yep.
And recently, Ford revealed and debuted the Bronco Raptor.
Right.
So now the Raptor is becoming its own brand, right, within the Ford. And when they were...
Dare I say a Ranger Raptor?
Well, that's another rumor.
Really?
That's another rumor, but it's on... It's really... There's no hints from Ford about it for United States.
A Transit Raptor?
That's something else. But the Raptor brand, I think it's a smart move for Ford because...
A Navigator Raptor?
No. What else can you Raptorize? Can
An Escape?
A Fusion? A Fusion Raptor?
It's dead, Andre.
Oh, the Fusion is dead.
Fusion's dead.
Maverick?
Yeah, hell yeah. I would love a Maverick Raptor. Ford, if you're listening. By the way, good job on the exhaust. Really love it.
Yeah.
Now get to work on the Maverick Raptor because I'll be the first in line to buy one of those.
So
actually, they've got the power plant when you think about it. Right? They're putting those little tiny turbos. Why not put like the 2.7?
Or 2.3 even.
Or even the 2.3, yeah exactly.
And soup it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's possible and doable. But so Ford actually teased officially the Raptor R name when they were unveiling the Bronco Raptor. And they actually showed on social media like a super fast jet flying and it said Raptor R. So they're still teasing it. It's coming. We don't know exactly if it's going to have which supercharged engine will it have. Will it have a V8 from a GT500? Will it have something else? But that is still coming, and they're saying it's coming this year. But the Ranger Raptor, that's still a rumor out there. There was a recent story that came out that it's coming for U.S., not just the rest of the world, and it's going to cost actually price leaked. And this is according to FordAuthority.com. And they said that it's going to start at $52,500 for a Ranger Raptor next generation truck that's coming maybe within a year. I don't know. It sounds too soon to be actually talking about Ranger Raptors because the next generation Ranger is not even here yet.
All right. So when I do, the car podcast, I like to do a Roman's rant.
Okay.
Could I do a Roman's rant, Andre?
Yeah. On which subject?
Well, I got this email, and this is a truck email. So I want to read you this email, and then I'm going to go a little ranty, if that's okay, guys.
Okay, sure.
So we got this email from AN.
Okay.
So first of all, that is already the start of a rant. If you're going to send us an email, at least be kind enough and brave enough to use your real name, not AN. But this came from AN, if you remember, Andre, I said that Ford is playing real football as opposed to touch football. What I meant was they're playing tackle football. They're serious about it when it comes to building trucks. So the statement was that Rivian has got a lot of hard work to do now because we were talking about the Rivian at the time, and they actually have gone and done the IPO. They've gotten the money, and now it's time for them to get to work because 6 months from now, or now it's probably 5 months from now, Ford is going to start cranking out Lightnings in such a fashion that Rivian's going to have serious competition. right?
Sure, yeah.
And I said, Ford plays, they don't play touch, they play tackle.
And Ford has huge volume, potentially.
Yeah. So here's the comment. I'm reading it to you, okay? There's a video on YouTube with Tommy and Roman. Roman is stating Ford is serious and is playing real football with these EV truck production, with these real EV trucks. Production now that it relates to Rivian. Now, I have 2 Fords currently and have had many, many other cars throughout my life. So this guy has had a lot of cars. I, along with thousands of Mach-E order holders, have been told now that we are ordered, this is a really poorly written or I can't read, have been told now that cars we ordered a year ago might make delivery in May of 2021. I think you should have an EV channel, we do, or a podcast, we do, and how Ford is not completing them in any sort of timely manner before saying that they're playing real football and are a real manufacturer. Trickles of vehicle is not production. So the Mach-E is behind, the Maverick is behind, their lots are basically empty. Please do not tell us how they are playing real football. I tried to leave this one on the video, but of course I couldn't. I don't know why I couldn't, but that's something else. So he's basically saying that Ford has a lot of work to do to, of course, build capacity in Mach-E numbers and Maverick numbers. So let's talk about that.
And Bronco numbers.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I'll do my rant.
Okay.
Now Rivian, who by the way is massively impressive that they were able to come out with such an incredibly sorted and I would say sophisticated and well screwed together pickup truck on their first try. But as far as I know, currently they've built 1,000-ish.
That was as a couple of weeks ago. That's what they announced.
Yeah,
right?
and in their I think in their last investor call, they were hoping to ramp up to, I think they said 250 units a week.
I think 200. Right.
200 a week. Okay.
Right.
Now this gentleman or gal is complaining about the fact that Ford has not completed their Mach-E order. Yet I believe last year Ford sold, the numbers on the Mach-Es?
Yeah, I think it's rattling in the back of my head. I believe it's about 27,000 they sold.
Right. So,
of Mach-Es.
Of Mach-Es. So 27,000 Mach-Es built and sold as compared to...
In the country.
In the country, as compared to less than 1,000. That's playing football, Andre. That's playing football. And I don't know, we don't know, do we know the production numbers on the Maverick yet?
Not completely. Well, so they're selling about 4,000 a month-ish.
Yep.
So, of course, it hasn't been a full year, so we don't know exactly what's going to happen. But if they maintain that, they could be 40,000 a year, 45,000, 50,000 a year.
So there's obviously a lot of, and this is my rant, there's obviously a lot of excitement and buzz around the new electric truck manufacturers, right? And I hate to use this word, but a lot of people are looking at the older companies like GM, Ford, name the older ones you want, as legacy manufacturers, right? But the fact remains that legacy manufacturers, except for Tesla, I didn't go with Tesla because Tesla is actually, I think they sold over 1 million units last year, right? So they are knocking and rocking and rolling out vehicles, right? Mm-hmm. But except for Tesla, the one thing that Ford and GM know how to do is build cars. And I know I feel bad for you. I know you've ordered your vehicle, but dude, people ordered their Rivians or Dudette 3 years ago, and
most of them are still waiting.
Most of them are still waiting.
Yeah.
I think there's 70,000 on that list. This is 3 years ago, and they won't get them if they're lucky. If they're lucky, until the end of this year or the beginning of next year. So you've got maybe a year wait on your Mach-E, and actually, I don't think you even have to wait for a Mach-E. I think if you
do a wide search,
if you do a wide search, and you're willing to travel, which is not bad, which we've done, by the way, it's great. Do an EV road trip, and you learn about EVs very quickly. You could probably get one tomorrow. So I'm sure you could find a dealership and probably not even pay over sticker. So Mach-Es are out there. You don't have to be locked in to the one that you've ordered, unless you're really, set on the one that you ordered. But you can have one tomorrow. You cannot have a Rivian tomorrow. And like I said, those people ordered their vehicles 3 years ago, and it's probably going to be another year before they start getting them. And so I would consider that playing tackle football. That's the big leagues, right? When you can start cranking out not hundreds, not thousands,
but
hundreds of thousands of vehicles a year, then you're playing in the big leagues.
And I think so. Ford has had some issues with shortages, and
Everybody
but
has.
every
Yeah.
manufacturer has. So, and I know some people who ordered their Broncos and are waiting for a Bronco, and there are people who want the Bronco Raptor and they feel like it's untouchable, right? So all of those things, of course, are there. But I think in their pipeline, I think Ford is doing a lot of good product, right?
Right.
So they're actually engineering good vehicles. I mean, the Bronco by itself is a great vehicle. The new F-150,
Andre, a
et cetera.
manufacturer is lucky to have one like mega hit every decade, right?
Yeah.
One car or truck that is like, holy cow, people are fighting for it. And yet Ford in the last 2 years has had 3 of them, 3 mega hits, right? These are like once in a decade cars, like the Mustang. These are Mustang, Camaro, Corvette type of nameplates that will continue. They've redone the Bronco, which is probably last year's most buzzworthy, most sought after, most searched vehicle.
And it's continuing, yeah.
Yep. They've done the Maverick,
Right.
which I think even surprised them.
And it came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Just all of a sudden, everybody's like, holy crud, I need a compact truck.
And they're actually stopping taking orders. They stopped
until
taking,
summer.
Yeah.
Until the summer, yeah.
Yes.
And congratulations, Tim. I was listening to Tim's podcast. Tim from Pickup Truck SUV Talk.
Yeah.
He got his order in on the last day.
On the Maverick?
Yeah, he's
got
buying
it,
one
yeah.
for his wife, apparently. So congratulations. I'm glad you got it in.
Good car. I was just talking to my wife's grandpa in
Yeah.
Arizona. He wants a Maverick.
Yeah.
Everybody from really really old to very very young. Everybody wants it.
And then I don't think the Mach-E's a mega hit, but I think it's a hit. I think people, are buying them. People want them. And so, Ford has got 3 hot vehicles on their hand. And for the most part, they're managing to barely build them. But let's be real. They're building them. There's a lot of cars. And I don't want to bash Rivian because, I assume they've got the money. As soon as they figure out the chip shortage and the supply issues, they'll crank out Rivians. But there are other truck manufacturers like Bollinger who basically just threw up their arms and said, you know what, we can't build this. We're going to go and build commercial vehicles.
Exactly, and also like GM has been hit by shortages, right? There we saw fields of Silverados waiting for parts. We saw fields of Ford F-150s waiting for parts. And, Ram kind of survived seemingly. They did really well selling trucks last year, actually. They were knocking on Chevy's door.
I think they surpassed Chevy, right?
Yeah.
But not GM. When you
Not
combine Chevy
GM
and GMC,
combined, but
yeah.
Chevrolet by itself. So Ram's been doing really, really well. And, Ram, we have a backcountry in our long-term fleet as well, Ram 1500. And they're using, older engines or older powertrains and just kind of building, the trucks, I think, that their customers still like. And everybody else is trying to push, hybrids and electrification, and Ram is taking their time.
All right, well, let's keep going. We promised to talk about not just that. What was the truck you drove? You didn't drive it. You slid it down Sniper Hill, which must have been terrifying. I'm just teasing what we're going to be talking about. What was it, an LM?
It's a LMTV, so it's basically a
LMTV.
four-wheel drive Stewart and Stevenson military truck.
How much does it weigh?
Well, it weighs by itself about almost 18,000 pounds.
Wow, sliding that down Sniper Hill must have
So
been...
Sniper Hill is actually more steep than it
shows on video.
It
We'll
shows.
save it to the end. Save it to the end.
Yeah.
Let's not go there. So the next truck I want to talk about, because we do have some news on it, is a TRX. Now, we've put over 11,000 miles, almost 12,000 miles. I believe, and I'm proud of this, Andre, the first customer delivery in America to actually pick up the TRX. We picked it up in 2020.
December 31st.
The last day of the year. Yeah, thank you, Ram, for making that possible. And it has been completely trouble-free. I don't think we've had, outside of it's not. I know it's not interesting, exciting to talk about, but we have had no issues with it.
Yeah, I think once in a and we drag raced a lot.
No, once in a drag race,
remember
happened,
it went to like a limp mode.
Yeah, but then we rebooted it. It was fine.
We just restarted it. We
Yeah.
didn't even touch the battery, nothing. And it just came back to life, and there was like one hiccup in 12,000 miles. And you said tires are good.
Yeah.
We drag raced the bejeebies out of it, and the tires are still good. They still have a lot of traction. And it's a heavy beast. It's like 6,400 pounds. It's been mighty impressive.
So the bit of news that we haven't done yet, and we'll do it here on the podcast. First time we're actually breaking news on the podcast. Well, it's TFL news.
Okay.
We just changed the oil on it, right? We did the, whatever it was, 10,000, 11,000 mile oil change. And you actually sent that oil in and had it tested, right?
Exactly.
And what were the results of that?
So let me give me a second to pull
I'll
it up.
keep talking.
So
you pull
let's
it up. One of the things we do on our long-term vehicles is we actually break down the oil, not the new oil, right, the one that's been in the engine, because that tells you how the engine is wearing. You can see what kind of particulates are in the oil, if the oil is not just lubricating the vehicle, but also how the vehicle is responding to the way that you're driving it. All that evidence, call it forensic evidence, Andre, is actually inside the oil. So we're going to be doing a video on this. So I kind of caught Andre unaware here, but we'll give you the report. And while he keeps looking at that, let me kind of talk to you a little bit more about the TRX. I haven't driven it for a while, Andre, but I got to tell you, I drove it today, and once again, I fell in love with that truck. It's funny. We're not in the business of keeping trucks. We keep them for a year, and we have yet to move that one on, and it's going to be a tough day when it's time to sell that truck. Now, the one thing about the Raptor and the TRX is the TRX cost $77,000. The Raptor, as configured that we have here, was $82,000.
Right.
It didn't have the sunroof. I think you can get up to like almost $85,000, right, if you tick all of them. But let's face it, in the real world, these things are selling $25,000, $30,000 over sticker, and that just breaks my heart because they're such good trucks. And they're so much fun, and they're both those manufacturers are at the top of their game when it comes to performance trucks. And when you're looking at a truck that now costs $100,000+ realistically, if you can find one, I just wish more people had a chance to actually get behind the wheel of one.
Yeah, totally. Whoa, I really blew it up.
Okay.
So I found the report. Thank you. So we did it in early January 2022, and this was 11,000 miles, a little bit more than that. And so what's nice, when you do multiple oil changes with the analysis, you can see the trend, right? Because if you do one, you really don't know anything. But then when you see the trend and how it's responding, and here was the message from the lab. This is according to Blackstone Labs. Andre, thanks for the notes. We included the data from the first report for comparison, and we will continue to slide the data back one column every time you change your oil on your 2021 Ram. Hey, this is a great message. We are looking for aluminum, iron, copper, and silicon to continue falling at each oil change as more and more miles are put on the truck. This report already shows a good amount of improvement. Your 6.2 liter supercharged Hemi is on the right track. Fuel dilution is okay. So they check everything. They have base numbers, and so it got a clean bill of health.
Wow.
So there wasn't a lot of fuel dilution. That means it's running very tight. The engine is not, the pistons themselves are sealing properly, and so yeah, I mean that was pretty nice. Nice report to read. So
everything is cool.
Yeah,
good truck. All right, so clean bill of health, Andre. That's good news.
Yeah, totally.
All right, let's keep talking about the TRX. The interior is wearing really well. The steering wheel's getting a little shiny. You know how that happens after you use it for a while. It gets kind of, a lot of hands.
Yeah.
But the seats look brand new. The controls aren't. There's no parts that are like peeling. Maybe it doesn't happen after 11,000 miles in 1 year, but there's nothing really that is showing wear and tear on the thing. We actually have been very lucky in that we haven't had to replace a windscreen, which happens a lot here in Colorado.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'm going to break it tomorrow because I just jinxed myself. I shouldn't have said that. And the tires are doing well, and it sounds fabulous. So
yeah, and the shocks are doing well. There were some complaints early on with some TRX owners that they said the suspension was coming loose or something was happening with the suspension. No, we never saw anything come loose. It's still as taut as it was when it was all new, brand new. And ours is a little bit more simple, right? We don't have like a sunroof, for example. We don't have a panoramic roof. We don't have a lot of carbon fiber or other inserts on the interior, but I like that.
Yeah, we don't
it's
have
more
like
simple.
a lot of the safety tech either. The backup.
We don't have keyless entry.
We don't have keyless entry. We don't have blindside monitoring.
Yeah,
that's all right. It's a truck.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's a truck.
It's all good. All right, so let's move on to probably the next one that people are really interested in, and that is the Tundra. Where is the Tundra today, Andre?
It's actually moving across country.
Yeah, we've got something really exciting happening. We partnered with a company company that builds off-road campers.
Black Series.
Black Series. Have you seen those things? They look cool. They look badass. They're these big, boxy, pretty heavy. Almost 7,000 pounds?
Yeah, and also tandem axles, dual axles, right? And big off-roady tires and huge suspensions.
So tomorrow you are flying to LA. Grant, one of our kind of behind-the-scenes team members, drove it or is driving it today to California, and you guys are going to hook that bad boy up, and then of course you're going to put a Navi on it too, a little tiny motorcycle that Hans is selling. So you're going to drive it back and kind of camp in Moab. I'm jealous, dude.
Totally. So that's going to be our first, not the first just trip, because I picked up our Tundra in Houston and drove it here. That was already 1,100 miles, or approximately 1,000 miles. This is going to be another 1,100 plus, but towing. So this is our cross-country towing trip with a big, big, heavy trailer. So we're going to do several videos. We're going to show you the trailer, the camper we're in. We're going to tell you exactly how it tows.
Yeah, and it's, 7,000 dry.
Yeah,
so
and it could be loaded heavier.
Yeah, when you put water, it's going to be like, close to 10K.
So it's an HQ19.
Okay.
Basically, that's their name, and it's basically 19-foot length on the floor of the camper, and it's a little bit longer because of the trailer tongue. But they recommend a heavy-duty truck to pull it.
Yeah, I saw that on their website.
Yeah.
Now, how much does the Tundra tow?
The Tundra is rated to tow about 11,000. So towing about 7,000-pound dry trailer should be well within its capability.
You got to fill it up, dude.
What, with water and stuff?
Yeah, you have to go. I think what you need to do, and I know I'm giving you more work, so I apologize beforehand, but I think you got to fill it up and you got to weigh it.
Yeah, definitely, before we get going.
And then, of course, MPG loop.
Yeah. So it's going to be a road trip MPG. The Tundra has about a 32-gallon tank. So I'm hoping we can push it deep into that fuel, because we're going to be crossing, of course, California and Nevada.
If you're going to be camping in it, you want to fill it up, right? You want to have water when you're camping.
Yeah, but not if it freezes.
Well, isn't there a heater in the thing?
Well, yeah, but not when you're driving in it. I mean, so yeah, we'll get some water in it so we can actually camp.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to cross Vail Pass, at -4 degrees, with water in the
Why
trailer.
not? People do it. People,
Well,
I'm sure people. Why not?
People winterize their campers in the winter and stop using them.
But they don't. Wait. Hold on. I'm not. Okay, I got to be honest here.
What?
I'm new to this world, so I may be talking out of my hat, or you know what. But there's got to be people who are snowbirds who are traveling, let's say, from Montana down to Arizona and crossing the cold Colorado Rockies, who don't winterize it when they're towing it. There's got to be a way for that water not to freeze when you're living in the thing and it gets cold when you're towing it. That you can't just have the only answer be either winterize it or don't use it.
Well, so I think you could buy a trailer technically that's kind of 4-season.
Okay.
So right. So generally, motorhomes and RVs, et cetera, there's a 3-season machine, right? So which means it's great unless you really want to do, overnight camping, for example, in freezing temperatures. Or there are 4 seasons, because the water tanks basically are inside the camper or the motorhome or the RV.
How many seasons is this?
I don't know, and I guess I'll find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, dude, this is an off-road, hardcore,
off the grid
camper or trailer? Camper.
Camping trailer.
Camping trailer, right? And so I assume people are, towing it and living in it with water in it. And there's got to be a way to keep that water from freezing. Obviously, if the water freezes, it would create a whole bunch of issues.
Well, so I think mostly if you're living with it, let's say, for example, we will be camping in it overnight before we get home.
Yeah.
You're running the heater inside, right?
Right. But
so technically, if you're hauling it across country and the heater is not on, I mean, there's a danger of that water freezing. So I'll have to figure that out.
Okay, so we're all newbies to this. We're gonna be figuring it out with you guys. But the exciting part is we're bringing it here to Colorado, and hopefully we're gonna be having it for a few months to test in the winter. So we are gonna be using it in the winter.
Yeah, totally.
So ask them that, because I'm sure they've had to figure that out.
Well, they're engineered in Australia,
right?
And they're built in Los Angeles. So Are there freezing nights in Australia?
Yeah, there's places you can go skiing in Australia.
I guess you could.
Yeah, if you go far enough. Yeah, there are places. Yeah. Mostly it's obviously warm, a desert, right? But there are places where you can go skiing. I think the Blue Mountains outside of Sydney get pretty cold. I think if you go farther south, I think especially like Tasmania, it gets cold. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We're going to do a tour at the factory.
Yeah.
So where they're built and actually put together, because that's near Los Angeles. So stay tuned for that. And then our Tundra has 2,500 miles now.
Yeah.
Well, now it will have a lot more.
Yeah, it'll have a lot more when we get back.
Yeah. So about almost 3,000 miles.
I did break it, Andre. You know that. I broke it on our last off-road review.
Yes.
I was backing it up, and I got a root cut underneath it, and it pulled the little plastic kind of trim piece off, and it cracked the little silver trim piece. It kind of pissed me off because I'm like, it probably shouldn't crack trim pieces.
Well, so it's kind of a valid complaint, I would say.
I think so, yeah.
Because you would expect a truck to be really tough, and have big steel bumpers.
So it's got bumpers, and on top of the bumpers are these like two plastic silver caps, and then in the middle is like a trim piece that goes underneath the license plate, but above the hitch. Mm-hmm. And the root caught that when I was backing up, and then pulled forward. It pulled that out, and then because they're screwed into those two plastic silver pieces, it broke one of those silver cap. It didn't break the actual cap. It broke where it's attached to the cap. Mm-hmm. And so we were able to actually get that centerpiece that goes under the plate. It's like a long, thin piece of plastic. But those two caps, apparently, according to Zach, are ungettable right now.
Backordered.
Yeah. So I was kind of bummed that I did it, and then I was kind of pissed that I couldn't fix it. But I understand it. It's COVID. Maybe I'm giving the thing too much of a break. But, everything is hard to get nowadays.
Well, so, I guess that kind of relates to playing real football or, flag football or touch football. And I think, point for Toyota, they launched the truck in the middle of the pandemic, basically, right? Because it went on sale technically in December. We picked it up. We were one of the first to pick it up in the country. And people are calling, talking about delays, etc. They said it was going to be delivered in December, and they did it. And now I actually see them around town. I don't know if you've noticed.
I've seen a black one.
But yeah, there's several Tundras running around, actually. So
but I heard they closed the factory for a week because of COVID. Is that true?
I heard the rumor about that.
I think they're also having COVID issues.
So it's COVID, people getting sick, and also component issues, right?
Yeah, supply chain issues, yeah.
So it's a lot of issues, but I see a lot of them on the road, actually. I think I've seen like 3 different ones, not just ours. So they're out there.
So we'll do not only a camping video, like I said, we're going to really load it. We're going to really max out the payload because there'll be 3 of you in there right there. We're getting that. If you haven't been to our bike channel, TFL Bike, check it out. The guys do a really good job. Case is running that channel now. Mm-hmm. And so we're getting a little Honda Navi. I think it's the cheapest Honda in America. Throw that in the bed.
It's also really popular.
It's also really popular. Yeah. Maybe zip around in Moab in it as a little like a little camping bike, and then bring all that back, and then of course you'll do an MPG loop, right?
Yeah, totally. And kind of the towing trip. The thing about, and I don't want to give everything away, but the Black Series camper has a unique hitch. It's a little bit meant for off-roading, so it's articulating hitch, and it's a hitch that I haven't used before. There's the Lock and Roll is another brand, so there's several different brands of these hitches. So I'll let you guys know exactly how it tows.
Now, speaking of towing, we've got one more Rivian video. Thank you once again, and I apologize. I know you had a conference call with the team from Rivian, and I wasn't able to do it. I got back from vacation, and I've just been doing videos nonstop, trying to take advantage of the snow, so I had to jump on a video. So I apologize. I couldn't be on that call, guys, if you're listening to this. But we did one more video, and I think that's an interesting one. And the video we wanted to do was comparing the Rivian to ICE. ICE is internal combustion engine. Now, we have a new EV channel, TFL EV, but we're going to put this on the truck channel. And when you're listening to this weekend, it should be up on the truck channel. So the idea was, I think this is an important question, Andre, that we both decided we should try to figure out how far can you tow a trailer with an electric truck when it's fully charged versus a ICE truck, internal combustion engine truck, when it's fully fueled up. Mm-hmm. Now, the way we wanted to do this video was to be able to get 2 identical trailers and just head on down the highway, and when the Rivian ran out of power, we'd stop and say, okay, we could tow this many miles. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, we were unable, and of course, keep going with the Tundra until it ran out of gas. Yeah. But we weren't able to get 2 identical trailers. So we had a workaround, and the workaround was we would tow the Rivian down the highway until it reached 50%, and then come back to the office. And that way, we would know...
Determine the distance.
The distance, right? Because we'd be pretty much dead. And then what we would do is the same distance with the Tundra, bring it back, do our fuel test, right? We find out how much fuel it uses, and then find out how much is left in the tank, then multiply that by the MPG and get a distance. So we it's a little convoluted, but we're able to do that. I don't want to give away the answer, but I'm sure it'll be no surprise to anyone that the Tundra went further. Or potentially can go further?
Well, it's no surprise, but what we wanted to find out is real world.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody says in the comment section, oh, electric trucks don't go far with a trailer. Technically, so the issue is actually the amount of energy that can be stored in a gallon of fuel versus in a battery, right? And batteries are still, they're still young technology, right? They're still up and coming. This is across the board, lithium-ion batteries.
Can I correct you? I think electric vehicles were around before internal.
But the batteries, yes, if you want to test a 1901 electric car.
I think it was like electric, steam, and then the combustion, then diesel, then gas and the diesel.
Yes. But I'm talking about the recent batteries, right? So lithium ions.
Maybe steam was first.
I think steam was first.
Steam was first.
Steam trains.
Yeah.
No, but I'm talking about the battery capacities, right? As soon as we get other technologies, maybe like solid state batteries, right? And in the future, others, if they can get more just kilowatt hour capacity, then electric vehicles will go way, way further. But now we wanted to figure out the difference. We nailed it. We can show you that in that video on TFL Truck.
And who lent us the camper?
It was from Colorado Teardrops.
Oh, yeah. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you guys at Colorado Teardrops. Actually, they're down the street from our offices.
Even better.
They're very close. And this is just a little plug for them because I'm kind of excited by this. They said in the middle of this year, 2022, about July, they have a new trailer coming out, which is for electric vehicles.
Oh, cool.
So their trailer...
Is it powered?
No, because there's regulations against your trailer providing propulsion. So it's a kind of a big deal as far as regulations are concerned. But their camping trailer will have extra batteries in the floor.
Oh, cool.
So the idea is, they call it the Boulder, because the Boulder, Colorado is where they're based. The Boulder trailer will be, you can tow it, for example, to your location. Let's say you're towing it with an electric truck. You plug in the trailer into the truck, so the truck is now feeding off the energy in the trailer, and then you can make it home.
Cool.
So that's the idea. So we'll have to test that when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm excited. I thought somebody sent us an email saying that there is a powered Gulf, what's it called? No, Airstream, not Gulfstream.
Oh, Airstream that can power itself, or something like that. I think those technologies exist.
Yeah, Airstream, if you're listening, call me.
Yes. So Airstream, if you notice, a lot of our videos, including Tundra towing, prepared by Toyota, and including Sequoia towing, your trailers are everywhere.
Yeah, ask a TFL Truck. You'll get a hold of me or Andre that way.
Ask at tfltruck.com. Yep. Exactly. And so the technology exists. I think there's a European company that has an idea about a trailer actually providing propulsion, and this could be actually also recouping energy, right? Because
so are you hinting that the Tundra went further than the Rivian?
Yes.
Okay. And then,
but by how much?
By how much? That's the reason we did this Colorado Teardrop, right? Campers is because we did obviously an Ike. You did an Ike. By the way, great job, Andre. That was a fascinating video that you did with the Rivian. But you were towing, let's face it, an F-100.
On a flatbed trailer.
On a flatbed trailer. This is like a work truck thing, right? That most people aren't. So we figured we should get a trailer, we should get a camper that most people will use with the Rivian. So we got this kind of, how much did it weigh?
So it was about 2,000 pounds.
Yeah, so very light.
This small trailer, but it had large tires, so it was riding on 35s. And Rivian wants to be, their image is, adventure, right? Off-roading, getting out there in the wilderness. So this trailer, I think, matches that kind of model and philosophy. So it's usable. This trailer, you can put a tent, a rooftop mounted tent. So you could sleep probably 4 people there.
So I got to tell you, I am kind of torn on the Tundra. So, a lot of people are throwing a lot of hate at the Tundra. I was listening once again to Tim's podcast, and at the end of the day, he said that He thinks that the Tundra, dare I say this word, is a FLOP. That's what he was hinting at. And I'm sorry if I'm paraphrasing, Tim, but I think that's where we're going with it. Feel free to listen to that podcast. But I completely disagree. I actually think that Toyota built a really, really good truck. I really think it's one of those vehicles that over time, the longer you have it, the more it starts to grow on you. Tommy and I just did a podcast over at the car site. If you want to listen to that, the 10 surprisingly great cars that we've recently driven. And I think the Tundra could be one of those surprisingly great Tundras. I'm really starting to like it, except there is one fly in the ointment, which is the stupid infotainment system that makes you log in. This is not a good idea, Toyota, right? I do not want to log into my truck
every time
I want to, and when it logs me out, I do not want to drive it in guest mode, right? I understand that, when you do that, it does some good things like sets the seat or the radio stations. But like, for instance, I got logged out and then I had to be in guest mode, and then I was expecting all my radio stations.
You're listening to my
presets,
station, yeah.
And I was listening to yours because you're the primary driver. This whole idea of a primary and a secondary and a third, it just doesn't work. It's a bad idea. I don't care if Tesla has perfected it. Another Roman rant, sorry. It's just, you've got this great truck. Just let me get in the thing and set my own controls and not have to log into. I don't want to log into my truck or car. I just want to use, and so I will agree with Tim in that regard. But as a truck, I think it's great. I love the interior. I love the way it tows. I love the way it drives. Off-roady. You just actually let's stop ranting, Roman. You just did the TRD Pro. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So I had a chance to drive the TRD Pro hybrid and also the regular TRD off-road hybrid. It's on TFL off-road channels. You can see it right now. It's already published. And the whole big deal was their hybrid powertrain, right? We got a little taste of it earlier last year, a few months back, but now we know all the information about it. So the hybrid in the Tundra now costs about $3,400 over their twin-turbo gas engine. So $3,400 is a step up into the hybrid, and that gives you, of course, more torque, more power, and better efficiency. But I mean, there are a couple of hitches here, right? Because they're not offering the hybrid in the work truck. So in the Tundra, you have to be in the Limited, which is their mid-grade, or Platinum or above, like a TRD Pro. So I thought it was an interesting kind of strategy by them, because Ford offers hybrids across the board, right? You can get a luxury hybrid, you can get a work truck hybrid, and also the hybrid didn't match the efficiency of the Ford. I was really hoping it would. It was just like one mpg less.
Was it 24 mpg?
So for 2022, the F-150 hybrid went from 24 to 23.
Okay.
They adjusted their rating for 2022. And the Tundra is at between 21 and 22.
Okay.
So from that standpoint, I was really hoping for a slightly better efficiency, but we haven't tested it on an MPG loop.
All right, so we'll as soon as we can get it. When are they selling in March? Is that
March,
right?
April, yeah.
Is when
the hybrids are coming out.
And tell me about the capstone. How much is it?
Yeah, so the capstone starts at about $73,000, a little bit more than that.
Wow.
So this is an all-in truck.
This is above the 1794, right?
Yes. So it's above the TRD Pro, which is the off-road version, and we'll mention the off-roading piece just in a second. It's also above 1794, like you said. It's kind of all-in. You get the most premium interior, which is unique to it, with leather that they also use on Lexus vehicles. You get everything, the hybrid, all the technology, panoramic roofs.
I keep saying this, but they should have made it a Lexus.
Yes. So there was a lot of hum about this, right, at the event.
Yeah.
People were asking, why is it not a Lexus?
Yeah.
Why
not?
this?
Why isn't it Lexus?
Yeah.
Lexus and Toyota, why isn't it? Pray tell. You sell the
we get one hint.
balls out of them.
We got one hint from kind of the conversations behind the scenes.
And that is?
And that is that Toyota felt that, or Toyota Lexus felt, that Toyota Tundra, it was hard for them to launch a new brand. Okay, a Lexus truck would be a whole new thing, right? So the hint was that the Tundra brand has so much value that they're going to be investing into that brand and pushing it further into the future as
Sounds
they are
like
now.
marketing mumbo jumbo.
It was a little bit of marketing, yes.
I
mean, it could be a Lexus, but how do you launch a new brand right now?
It's not a brand. It's not a brand. It's a new model. And auto manufacturers and truck manufacturers launch new models all the time.
like a Maverick.
Like the Maverick, like the Mach-E, like the Bronco, I mean, they just launch new ones all the time. So it's not a brand. It's just launching a new model, and you're putting it in the dealership where all these people come and have their Lexuses serviced. And I bet you, there'd be a bunch of Texans who would be, holy cow, look at that. We got
it's a pickup truck.
A true pickup truck with the Lexus badge. I want one of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's expensive. We're running out of time, Andre, but we promised to talk about the other two, so let's talk about the other two. We also have had the Ram backcountry.
Yes.
For how many? 2 months now? It's
about two-ish.
Yeah, two-ish, and we've used it in a bunch of videos. So thank you, Ram, for the long-term loan on that. And basically, what they did was they created kind of a Rebel Light.
Off-Road Plus, I would say.
Off-Road Plus, yeah.
So they have an off-road package, right, in the Ram lineup, and backcountry is a little bit. You have a little bit more cosmetic changes to it, like blacked-out trim and grills and stuff like that. You still have the kind of the four-wheel drive system, the rear locker. It's kind of a Rebel Light because it doesn't have quite as big of a tire, right? It doesn't have all the skid plates that the Rebel may have.
I thought it's kind of a good hunting truck. That's what it felt to me like.
That's kind of what it is, yeah.
If I was going to hunt, that would be the truck I'd want.
And a Rebel is a little bit more sporty, right?
Did you notice how I got rid of the G? Like to be a hunter. I'm not a hunter, but
it's like talking trucks.
See, I was trying to kind of talk the vernacular with our viewers. Yeah. The only time I went hunting, Andre, was Nissan took me hunting, duck hunting.
Speaking of Nissan,
and I almost shot Tim in the face. So
oh wow!
Seriously, I didn't know that when you're shooting ducks, you don't want to go what I'm doing with my arms is you're supposed to move it 20 degrees, and you don't want to move it 30 or 40 degrees where your partner is next to you.
You were learning from Dick Cheney?
No, I was learning from Tim. Thank you, Tim. He taught me how to not shoot people when you're duck hunting.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. I know Tim goes hunting, I guess.
He's a hunter. Yeah, definitely. This is a lot about Tim on the show.
But yes, we should have him as a guest.
Hey, he just did a whole show about Doug DeMero, so
yes,
there you go.
So speaking of Titans, Nissans, we have a Titan as well. So the Titan has been really solid. You and Nathan recently did kind of a summary, right? Talking about our time with it. We still have it for what, another month or maybe half a month?
Yeah, it's a dying breed. It's got a V8, dude. Those are quickly going the way of the Dodo, and it's nice that Nissan kept the V8.
Yeah, and remember, everybody was nervous. Everybody thought the Titan is going away completely.
And you actually, unlike non-journalists, influencers, dare I say, Andre, you actually
checked with Nissan.
You checked with Nissan and asked before we started doing a Scotty Kilmer Nissan is dying.
Nissan is dead.
Yeah, didn't Scotty do a video 2 years ago that Nissan is dead?
Yes, he did.
He did. Are they dead, Andre?
No.
Okay, it is the Titan dead?
So I reached out to Nissan folks. We, of course, have a dialogue with their PR department, and they said no. And and then they announced the 2022 Titan pricing. So it starts about $39,000 for, but they kept the V8. The V8 is still there. So that truck moves on, and they'll have more Nismo off-road parts available for it.
So breaking news, guys. For those of you who get your news from Scotty Kilmer, Nissan is still in business.
Yes.
And for those of you who solely get your news from the Nissan forums, according to Nissan, the Titan is not going away. Now, that may change tomorrow. So, I don't want to hear "and I told you so," because tomorrow there may be a press release.
Oh, the Titan is dead. No.
But as of today, the 2022 Nissan Titan is still alive and well and being built in Smyrna, I believe, Mississippi.
Yeah, and also they are getting a little bit more traction with sales. They increased their sales in 2021, not by a lot. They're still in the last place behind Tundra. In sales, but hopefully they can gain a little bit more traction. Maybe if they offer more powertrain choices, maybe make it more efficient, and on and on and on, maybe they can grow.
Now, in terms of the Bronco, You know what? I don't want to. We're running out of time. So if you want to know what's been going on with the Bronco, we just did it live video, I believe. So go over to
You
TFL
did kind
now.
of a wrap up.
Yeah,
I mean, kind of an annual
6
update.
months. Yeah, we did a 6-month update on that, so you can see everything that's gone right and or wrong with it. So tell me about this LMTV that you sledded down Sniper Hill.
So one of our viewers and now friends, Marcus, owns this. He purchased this kind of army surplus truck. So it's a truck that's, I'm not sure exactly how old it is, but it's an older vehicle that the army sold at auction, and you can buy them, I mean, at auctions across the country.
Diesel, I take it?
It's diesel. It's got a Caterpillar straight six, so it's kind of it's got that semi-truck feeling, right?
Sure.
And it's got a big Allison transmission, which is automatic.
Do you have to have a CDL to drive that?
You know, its weight is below 26,000 pounds of overall combined weight, but it's got air brakes. So technically, but since it's going to be his RV, his home, you don't have to have.
There's that
CDL.
RV exemption. Yes,
there's an RV exemption.
Yeah.
So
you can drive the biggest truck or bus in the world.
You can drive a Prevost mega bus
as long as it's an RV.
Yeah, as long as you have a Pulse, apparently.
As long as you have enough money to afford one.
Yeah, so
you can drive it.
So, but technically, I was glad I had my CDL. But anyway, so we took it to Tumbleweed Ranch. That video is coming. I turned it into a sled because coming down Sniper Hill, it's fairly steep, and we had about an inch, a foot and a half of snow, and below it was just frozen mud. You know how the water used to run down there?
Yeah, so basically you've got snow on top of
ice.
Ice, yeah.
A sheet of ice. So, and you'll see it in the video. This truck turned into a sled. I tried to let go of the brakes, to keep the wheels turning.
No ABS on this, I take it?
No. So, and also using gearing. So, the shifter on this truck is on the left.
How many gears?
It's got 7. 7 automatic transmission. But when you put it in certain modes, you can actually shift it manually. So that video is coming. Marcus is a great now friend, and he's going to be coming out hopefully to Tumbleweed Ranch again.
Oh, that's great because he's got a tremor, right?
Yeah, he's got a Super Duty tremor.
Yeah, nice.
He also has an Isuzu, some of those commercial vehicles that he's building into an Overlander as well.
All right, well, there you have it, guys. Thank you for joining Andre and myself. I've taken Nathan's place. We had a snowstorm today, so we didn't have Nathan.
It's been snowing all day and all night.
Yeah, trying to, hurt himself coming in here or getting into causing more congestion out there. So next time, I'm sure Nathan will be back. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. As always, remember, go to TFL-Studios.com for all of our everything, podcast, websites,
automotive, everything.
News, everything, and that way you're always in the loop because we get a lot of emails from people saying, hey, you didn't cover this, you didn't cover that, and I'm always like, Andre is on top of it. Just go to TFLtruck.com.
Or TFL Studios.
Yeah,
exactly.
all right. And thank you to our Patreons or patrons for our support, and we'll see you next week, same time, same station, and by next week, Andre, you'll have driven the Tundra back with the Black Series camper, so that seems like a good,
we can talk about that. We also have, you're doing something, snow driving, right? More ice driving?
I am, but that's probably going to be a car thing. And then we're off to the Chicago Auto Show next week, so that'll be,
so hopefully we'll have some news.
Yeah. All right, see you guys next time. Ciao.